Hello, everyone. I am the storyteller, and today I am going to be doing a little bit of art based on Midgard and telling you the story of Midgard from the Norse myths. This is a brief intro that I recorded after the fact. I hope that is okay. To be clear, the person I am playing in this is a sort of character, if you will. Not fully. I think part of it is based off of parts of my personality, but I did want to make sure that it was very clear that I'm going to be doing mainly art content, and I'm also using this as an outlet to tell stories. Anyway, I hope people enjoy. Hello, dear ones. I am the storyteller, and welcome to the Nine Realms, a multi-part series I'm starting where I explain the nine realms of Norse mythology. Please note that many of these stories change and shift over time, and some minor tweaks may have been made, since they are oral traditions that have been passed down over time, and there are multiple interpretations, so I will do my best to merge them into one cohesive story. Our first part of this series is Midgard. Midgard doesn't only exist in Norse myths, actually. Basically every mythology has a different word for the earth. Grecian has Gaia, for instance, but Midgard specifically is used in most Germanic mythologies, and also some Uralic ones, where the name is different but most of the stories are similar, although significantly darker. I will be merging these stories, since the records of specifically Norse myths are few and far between, with most of them coming from the northern invasions and trade with Catholicized Rome, which changed the existence of some gods, their myths and abilities, and the interactions with the world tree on the greater world. Ironically, this also makes the most important sources of Norse myths in places that are not Scandinavia, namely Germany, and also Finland, but I don't want to get angry Finns in the comments, so for the record, Finland is Scandinavian and Nordic, with many oral traditions still being passed down through and from the Sami people in Sapmi country. One very important part of Midgard is the Germanic root mid, which you probably know because of recent slang, and it means essentially the same thing here. The other root, gard, can be vaguely translated to the modern word world. Maybe one day I'll tell some of the original creation myths, but for today we'll stick with the original middle world, Midgard. It is said that Midgard sits in the center of the world tree, which we'll talk about more in depth in future videos, but the important thing to know is that it is the Norse depiction of the universe, with Asgard at the top and the underrealms at the bottom. Importantly, in Midgard stands a hidden bridge, the Bifrost, the connecting place between the realm of humans to the realm of the gods. Depending on the place of the story, the realm is either Asgard or Vanaheim. Foreign historians argue the reason for this disagreement, but it is likely due to the wars of the time, with tales from a certain point merging from the Aesir and the Vanir into one pantheon of single deities. Mortals, the arcane word for the residents of Midgard, cannot see the Bifrost, save for the Veil Watchers, who can see through the arcane separations. Many humans live in simple and complete ignorance of Midgard. In the time of the old myths, with magic fading over time, they simply cannot sense it. While I will not tell their stories yet, there are many tales of Veil Watchers causing problems by alerting some humans to the existence of the Veil and getting sent to the Underrealms in the process. By the time of more recent myths, nearly all magic has faded from Midgard, with the few people having magic being trolls, giants, druids, or the Einherjar. At the time of the oldest myths, just after the birth of creation and the world tree, Midgard was the battlefield of the gods and the giants. It is said that with every step of the giants they could cover miles of ground. As their feet came down, up came the mountains, and down pushed the valleys. Some of the creation myths tell us that the original giants' bodies were scattered around the land to create the rivers, the clouds, and the sky. Over time, disparate bands and tribes start to coalesce into towns and cities, which prosper with trade. Over time, different factions form, and some wars are waged, which set the stage for some godly wars of future stories. Interestingly, while the shape of each realm is spherical, as in our world, there is an ocean surrounding the realm of Midgard. Surrounding the world sea lies the world monster, Jormungandr. He is one of the three main monsters that live around the world tree. Runic ones who hang themselves by their feet from the tree may encounter Jormungandr, and he may be found in some larger oceans in the third dimension of Midgard. Or, come to think of it more literally, Middle-earth. Granted, Tolkien took from many inspirations, but the Nordic languages and culture were chief among them, especially the Finns. This is why Nordic mythology seems to be so heavily cemented in fiction, as the peak of high fantasy. Dungeons and Dragons is a good example of this, for instance. One of the aforementioned giants was killed by someone who you, my watchers, do not know yet. Ymir. He was split up between the skies. The sun, moon, and stars are supposedly crafted from the skull of this suspicious giant, and were once held up by four dwarves, although their time has long since passed. Their names mark the compass that we currently use to navigate the seas, dear ones. One day I will tell the story of this giant, Ymir, the Jotun who came to Earth, but that day is not today. These are the ancient myths of Midgard, the place of the Bridge of Worlds, sat directly between the realms of ice and fire, held in perpetual captivity by Jormungandr, and the home place of you, the Watchers. Humans chief among them would write about Midgard along the oldest of ancient stories that were forgotten. The famous English poem Beowulf describes the place called Midgard, which by that point had shifted slightly to mean to protect or to enclose. Today we get the words from this called yard and guard. And that is where our tales of Midgard will end for now, dear ones. Soon we will travel the world tree, Yggdrasil again, which is where we will meet. All right, everyone, it's outro time. Hello. So if you don't know me, now you do. I am the storyteller, and I tell stories. I am also working on learning art. I am aware that my art in this video is not of peak quality, shall we say. I am working on it, and I am hoping to document my journey using this. I hope you will join me for the ride. Hopefully, you would also be interested in seeing me make more general art content, as this is more focused on Norse myths, but hopefully everybody was able to get something out of it. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to subscribe and chant the bell rune so that you never miss another one, and let me know what stories I should tell you next. But until then, I have been the storyteller, and you, dear ones, have been the watchers. I wish you luck.